It's time for electric to turn into lightning.
What's up, everybody? My name is Keena, and this channel covers personal finance and investing. If those topics interest you, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Today, we're going to dive into the competition between electric vehicle automakers as they rush to release electric trucks. I expect the rivalry between Tesla and Ford to be the most intense, since these two manufacturers are hitting lower price points, making them prime for the mass market. It's not that the Rivian R1T, or the GMC Hummer, or even the Nikola Badger whenever it arrives in 2024, it's not that they don't have potential, but at double or triple the cost of the Cybertruck and the electric Ford, these vehicles have priced themselves out of the mass market. Now that the electric Ford F-150 Lightning has been officially announced, we have enough information to do a side-by-side comparison of the major differences between the Ford and the Tesla. We're going to examine the specs and differentiating features between these two vehicles, which will help you make a buying decision if you're personally in the market for either of them. And then we'll dive into what I think the impact will be on long-term valuations, which will be useful if you're an investor and you own stock in either of these companies or you plan to in the future. As always, this is not financial advice, and you should not make investment decisions based on me or what any other YouTuber says. That being said, let's briefly touch on the current automotive market in America, as this will provide context for the move to electric vehicles. Pickup trucks sell better than any other vehicle type, and in 2020, Ford, Chevy, and Ram trucks received the highest sales of any vehicle. As you can see, in fourth and fifth place are crossover SUVs, followed by the Camry, Equinox, and Honda Civic, and then trucks again take the 9th and 10th place with the GMC Sierra and the Toyota Tacoma. The takeaway here is that Ford F-Series trucks have outsold all other vehicles in America by a significant margin for 39 years running. And in 2020, they sold almost 200,000 more F-Series trucks as compared with the next highest selling vehicle, the Chevy Silverado truck. The question on my mind, and probably the question for anybody who holds stock in either of these companies or is looking to buy either of these vehicles, is what will the electric vehicle landscape look like after the release of these trucks? Will Ford continue to dominate truck sales, or will Tesla dethrone the best-selling champ? To answer these questions, let's first take a look at the Ford F-150 Lightning unveil, which occurred last week on May 19 of 2021. The day before the event, the company made waves when President Biden made an unscheduled stop in Detroit to test drive the new electric Ford.
Mr. President!
This sucker's quick.
How's it drive?
How does it feel?
President, would you buy one of these?
I would.
Cool, I guess? Then, at the unveiling, Ford showed an F-150 that looks very similar to the current gas-powered version. On the surface, not much has changed, but internally, this vehicle uses dual electric motors and an all-wheel drive configuration on all variants. It gets 230 miles per charge, but this is upgradable to 300 miles with a larger battery pack. It makes either 426 horsepower or 563 horsepower, depending on if you get the smaller or the larger battery. And with the larger battery, it can hit a 0 to 60 time of 4 seconds. Towing capacity is expected to be up to 7,700 pounds with the smaller battery and up to 10,000 pounds with the larger. Just don't expect to get the promised 200 to 300 miles of range. If you're hauling heavy loads, you might only get double-digit range in that case. The Ford has a few unique features worth mentioning. First, the truck can supply up to 9.6 kilowatts of power to your home in the event of a power outage, keeping you electrified for up to 3 days. At least that's Ford's claim. But if you live in the Arizona desert like I do, you might only get 1 day worth of power, as air conditioners are super power hungry. But anyways, the truck also has 11 built-in power outlets that are spread across the front trunk, the bed, and the cabin. I think that's very useful, as DC chargers have always been super annoying and slow. The interior looks very similar to the current F-150, but you can see there's a much larger screen. And the truck comes with Blue Cruise, a hands-free driving technology for highways. At a cost ranging from $42,000 for the base version, all the way up to $92,000 for a loaded platinum version, this truck looks like a really solid offering from Ford. So, how does this stack up against the Tesla Cybertruck? Well, Tesla is offering a single-motor Cybertruck, which starts at $40,000, a dual-motor option that starts at $49,000, and a tri-motor variant starting at $69,000. Self-driving adds another $10,000 to the sticker price. The hardware is included on all the models, but you are just paying for the software unlock. And also, as we get nearer to the release date and production, there'll probably be paint and interior add-on option as well, but they're not on the site right now. The single and dual motor Cybertruck have similar range to the Ford, with 230 and 300 miles respectively. And the triple motor has a massively bigger battery, and it gets 500 miles per charge. That is a significant upgrade, but also a significant cost to get there. As far as horsepower goes, Tesla has not released specifics, but they have given towing capacities, so people have estimated this online. We think that the single motor version will have 400 to 500 horsepower with a 7,500 pound towing capacity max. The dual motor will have 700 horsepower or so with a maximum of 10,000 pounds in towing capacity. And the triple motor will deliver 800 horsepower and can tow up to 14,000 pounds. So this means that the single and dual motor Cybertruck will be on par with the Ford, and the tri-motor delivers substantially higher performance. And then, of course, the self-driving to consider, where Tesla is, in my view, light years ahead of Ford, and I expect them to maintain that dominant lead. In terms of aesthetics, it probably goes without saying, but the Cybertruck has become a meme for its futuristic sci-fi design. To me, it looks more like it belongs on Mars than on the interstate, whereas the F-150 Lightning is a tried and true, rugged, work-ready truck. For build quality, I would expect the Ford to be built with tighter tolerances, thereby avoiding the panel gaps that Tesla has become notorious for. But on the flip side, I'd expect the touchscreen, infotainment systems, and internal technology of the Tesla to be vastly superior. So the bottom line is, from a stylistic and an aesthetics perspective, there's a lot of personal preference here of what you value more. With that comparison out of the way, let's talk about future sales and likely impact that the introduction of these trucks will have on the stock price for both Ford and Tesla. In short, I'm bullish on Ford stock as they move into the EV space, so let me explain why. First, Ford has a very loyal customer base, and this is especially true when it comes to their truck lineup. A 2018 study by Edmunds found that truck owners were the most loyal of any vehicle type, and Ford owners buy a Ford vehicle for a second time about 55% of the time. I'm not saying that Tesla doesn't have loyal fans, because they do, but Ford has been around for much longer, and anecdotally, it seems to me that the appeal of Ford is much higher outside of urban communities and tech communities, which happens to be where trucks are more useful and more common. Also, I think that blue-collar workers, or really just anybody who uses a truck for work, will probably choose the Ford over the Tesla. That's just my opinion. The second reason I'm bullish on Ford is that their stock price is low relative to their sales and net profit. The market cap of this company is only $50 billion, as compared to Tesla, which has a market cap of $565 billion as of the filming of this video. And if we ignore what happened to auto sales in 2020 with the pandemic and chip shortages, we can see that Ford is a profitable automaker that sells 2 million cars per year on average. That's more than Tesla has sold since the inception of the brand. And, while nobody knows for sure, I predict that the Ford F-150 Lightning will outsell the Cybertruck. So you heard it here first. We'll see if that comes true. A counter argument here is that Tesla has first mover advantage and experience in the EV market, whereas Ford does not. And this is valid. It's a useful perspective to take. So let's look at Tesla's competitive advantages. According to me, Tesla's competitive advantage lies primarily in the lead that they've taken in battery technology and the lead that they have in self-driving capabilities. However, as I noted in an earlier video, one that really ruffled the feathers of some Tesla fans, the lead Tesla has in the battery arena is actually much smaller than they would like you to believe. By the way, I stand by everything I said in that video. If you want to watch it, it's right here. It's not that I don't love Tesla. Full disclosure, I actually have pre-ordered a Cybertruck. But I think that we need to ignore the hype for a second and take an unbiased view of the technologies. It's important to understand that Chinese battery makers, there's two of them, CATL and BYD. I think I'm saying those names right. I don't know, whatever. They're already mass producing battery cells with similar energy densities and at a lower cost per kilowatt hour as compared with Tesla's new 4680 battery, which they announced at their battery day in October of 2020 and will be rolled out into Tesla vehicles, starting with their Plaid Plus lineup later this year. It should work its way into the Cybertruck too. So battery parity is already apparent when we compare the F-150 Lightning against the Cybertruck. The ranges are similar. If we ignore the triple motor version of the Tesla with the much bigger battery pack, there is parity. The other area of competitive advantage is self-driving, where Tesla is undeniably on the bleeding edge and isn't likely to cede ground to Ford's Blue Cruise. There is some debate over LiDAR versus camera systems. I know Tesla just removed radar lately, but at the end of the day, I do believe that Tesla is going to win the self-driving war, so to speak. So that gives Tesla a competitive advantage. I don't think that point is really up for debate, but maybe Waymo would take me up on that. I don't know. So this brings us to Ford. Let's talk about what their competitive advantages are. I would say this also boils down to two areas, just different ones. So while Tesla has spent over a decade building their capacity to manufacture at scale, Ford already has the infrastructure in place. In fact, they're known for inventing the assembly line in the first place. Also, they produce more cars each year than Tesla has sold in its entire existence. So the other advantage I see is distribution, where Ford dealers are literally everywhere. And while I think the dealership model is antiquated and it will eventually die, I hope it dies. In the short term, it's here to stay, and it makes it really easy for Ford to deliver vehicles all over the map. And lastly, in the medium term, tax credits will exist for Ford electric vehicles that are not available to Tesla owners. And this is because the way the law was written. The credits are only available and only apply to the first 200,000 vehicles sold by each automaker. So Ford is nowhere near that mark. Their only electric vehicle that they're selling now is the Mach-E, whereas Tesla has exceeded that figure a long time ago, and there's no tax credits available. The bottom line is I think both of these trucks are awesome. The higher end triple motor variant of the Cybertruck is massively superior in range, horsepower, and towing capability, even when compared with a fully spec'd out Ford F-150 Lightning. But the thing is that most people are not going to buy the very most expensive version of the truck. I think that the Ford is a super practical vehicle with classic styling and a lot of features that people will find very useful. In terms of the stock price and valuation of these companies, I think that Ford stock has been priced pretty low. I believe the PE is hovering around 13%. And all it would take is a bit of excitement from a very loyal customer base combined with potentially high sales. And that would be all it would take for the momentum to push the price up over the next several years. But in the short term, I think the price will stay low, because the automakers are all dealing with this chip shortage, and this is actually probably the worst part of it right here in the middle of 2021. But 2022 onward, or maybe 2023 onward, I would expect upward price movement. Tesla, on the flip side, is already priced very high. I've said what I've said about that in the last video. I love the company, I just don't like the price. At the end of the day, Tesla will have to grapple with the fact that they are no longer the only game in town. Thank you for sticking around to the end. Please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon. Did you know it's absolutely free to turn the like button blue? Fun fact. Thank you, and I'll see you all in the next one.